How did Lázaro Cárdenas address the rights of indigenous peoples in Mexico? Imagine a time in Mexico when indigenous peoples faced serious challenges. During the presidency of Lázaro Cárdenas from 1934 to 1940, significant changes began to take shape. Cárdenas recognized the need to improve the lives of indigenous communities, and he took action. One of his first steps was the creation of the Department of Indigenous Affairs in 1936. This department aimed to defend indigenous villages and protect their land rights. It focused on communal lands known as ejidos and supported agricultural cooperatives. This initiative helped prevent abuses against indigenous peoples and promoted their economic and educational development. Land reform was another critical aspect of Cárdenas's presidency. By the end of his term, nearly half of Mexico's arable land had been redistributed. This effort benefited many indigenous peasants who gained access to land and credit. Cárdenas believed that social rights should be based on equality and solidarity, and land reform was a key part of this vision. In education, Cárdenas introduced bilingual schooling programs starting in 1939. Indigenous children were taught in their native languages before gradually learning Spanish. This was a significant step toward respecting indigenous languages and cultures within the national education system. Teachers received training to implement this bilingual approach, although challenges remained in fully transforming indigenous communities culturally. Culturally, Cárdenas supported the idea of planned acculturation. He wanted indigenous peoples to become active participants in national life while preserving their cultural heritage. Artisan projects and technical training were encouraged to modernize indigenous economies. Political participation was also important to Cárdenas. He organized national indigenous congresses, allowing different indigenous groups to come together, discuss common issues, and work toward collective rights. These congresses aimed to engage indigenous peoples in the national project and ensure respect for their rights. A notable example of Cárdenas's support was his development project for the Yaqui people. This group had faced decades of persecution, and under Cárdenas, their situation improved as part of broader indigenous policy efforts. Overall, Cárdenas's policies reflected a vision where indigenous peoples were seen as vital to Mexico's future. He believed they deserved protection, land, education, and political inclusion, while also encouraging their cultural incorporation into the Mexican nation. His approach balanced respect for indigenous identity with efforts to address historic marginalization through state-led development and integration.